Okay. Yeah, we are live finally. Oh boy, technical difficulties. Technical difficulties. I appreciate everybody being patient with me, man. Um, so everybody's just sitting there waiting in the Chamber of Commerce for Donald Trump. They will be starting in about 2 minutes. This seems like 8 o'clock start time. um, ooh, yeah, chat is definitely split on this one. Yep, we got flags of of various camps. Somebody saying remarks. Yeah. So what's up, everybody? It is I, Higher Thinking of the Chicago Black Delegation Podcast, and unfortunately, I'm dealing with some struggles here. I can't get my focal my main camera to work, unfortunately. But we're gonna fight through it regardless. Yeah. So Donald Trump has something very important to say, and I definitely want to be one of the. I definitely want to be with sit with you guys and kind of break it down to the best of my ability what we're witnessing. So I don't know. Again, we still got like another minute left um, until we I guess get the show rolling. Something they were actually dedicated gave $10 to these people. um, let me see. Pull up my personal chat real quick. Why isn't my? Oh, here we go. Then there's more nonsense happening, bro. I get no breaks. My thumbnails has not uploaded. Like, what's happening? Cuz this is so silly. Cuz oh well, I might just take that L with that thumbnail. What's up? What's up, Cheryl? I remember you. I think you say you was the trucker. I think I remember you. I think we had a nice long. I think we had a like. I think we had a conversation a long time ago. Um, Winter says most of the Democratic women are wearing the color pink. Okay, okay. Thanks for sliding on me, you all. Um, oh, yeah, no, y'all should not be looking at this. But yeah, so it is 8 o'clock. I don't know. I know I did read somewhere that it was supposed to start at 18, 8:10. I don't know, but anyway, let's just go ahead and while they get this situated, I wanna take a look at some of these executive orders and just kind of go oops, and then just kind of go over some of this stuff while they get started because I wanted to go over these executive orders a while ago, just haven't really gotten a chance to, and since they can't get the ish together, we might as well go over some of this stuff. Last I checked, it was like 50, about 56 or 57 or something like that, and then they just increased it to even more. I don't know where they're at as far as a count on executive orders, but I want to take a look at it. Um, I want to read this first, and then I want to go into reading exactly what the executive order is, just so everybody has some clarity on it. Oh well, here it is right here. Signed 76 executive orders. So like I said, last time I think like a week ago, maybe 2 weeks ago, it was about where they were at like 50 something, maybe like 56, I believe. But now they're at 76. So this dude definitely been working. So he's definitely not resting on his laurels here. So we could give him credit for that. Otherwise, this page contains documents that have been publishing in the Federal Register because the White House cannot deliver a document to the Office of the Federal Register, the OFR, until after the president signs a document. There is always a delay of at least one, typically of several days, between when the president signs a document and when it is published. Once received, OFR gives presidential documents priorities processing, and documents will appear on public inspection the business day before publication. If you are looking for a recently signed presidential document, you may wish to check out the White House websites. These 76 executive orders can be downloaded. Da 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 da. So let's quickly ask the question to good old Google. Um, da, 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 da. Let's go ahead and okay. I think it sounds like they're going to start. Executive orders are official documents, though, through which the president. Real quick. Executive orders. You know what? Let me just do this later, since we'll come back to the executive orders after the speech. I think that's a smarter thing to do. Oh, I thought it was okay. That's his wife. Oh, okay, Cheryl. Yeah, we okay. We were supposed to have you as a guest for about family matters. Okay, we gonna yeah. I think that don't sound like a bad idea at all. Yeah, real quick, Cheryl, we can. I think it's a good idea to set that up. Not gonna lie. So I'm probably gonna hit you up sometime this week, and then we can have a conversation to kind of pick up where we kind of left off.
Agree with client and start time tracking. Great. So for Q4, I was thinking.
What are you doing?
Oh, we needed a white.
What do you mean Google Chrome is not my default, bro? What has been going to my computer? What's been happening to my computer? Oh, God. Hold on a second. I guess that worked. That's what it is. I feel like people be breaking in my house and just screwing around with my computer settings. They are still not doing anything, bro. All right, I'm going back to these executive orders. I thought I was making that executive decision by going back to this, by saving the executive order conversation for later. But they still ain't doing jack. Okay, so executive order EOs are official documents through which the president of the United States manages the operations of the federal government. The directives cite the president's authority under the Constitution and statutes, sometimes specified. So let's ask the question here. What is an executive order? Let's ask another question real quick. Is an executive order a law? An executive order is a declaration by the president which has the force of law, usually based on existing statutory powers and requiring no action by the Congress. They are numbered consecutively, so executive orders may be referenced by their assigned number or their topic. So it's important to understand like the executive orders can be are hold on. Not yet. Yeah, it's important to state that it's important to know that executive orders, they're within the jurisdiction, like signing, or essentially relegating different ways of which the government should be ran and things like that. Like that's within the jurisdiction of the president of the United States, sure, but not to be confused with him actually creating laws that would normally require action by Congress. Okay. So just because the president may make an executive order, if it's not within his, if it's not within I'm gonna put it this way: it's not within his right to sign into law if it's all if Congress needs to be a part of the negotiation process. So, in other words, there's a lot of laws and things set in place already, and the president can work within that space to create some level of bills of legislation. Okay, but if there's something that kind of goes outside the what's already established from Congress, then yes, the president will need to essentially go to Congress and make that happen. You know what I mean? You know what I mean? Or not go to Congress, but he'll have to. Congress will have to vote on things in order to create like a law, create laws that will essentially support what the president is trying to do with his powers, with these executive orders. So that's kind of the best way I can explain it. I think I do plan on go ahead. Oh, that's RFK right there. I do plan on go ahead and checking out all of. I mean, not going, checking out like a Wikipedia or something like that. Just doing a real thorough deep dive on the complexities of executive orders. But now's not that time. So again, I do want to check out like I think I'm gonna check back in like 2 minutes. I'm gonna try to read through at least a chunk of this first executive order. So this one is implementing the President's Department of Government Efficiency Cost Efficiency Initiative. So this is the doggy thing that Elon Musk is in charge of. So let's check this out. Again, implementing the President's Department of Government Efficiency Cost Effective Efficiency Initiative. So, implementing the President's Department of Government Efficiency Cost Efficiency Initiative by the authority vested in me as President of the Constitution and the laws of the United States of America, it is hereby ordered. Section 1, purpose. The order commences a transformation in federal spending on contracts, grants, and loans to ensure government spending is transparent and government employees are accountable to the American public. Okay, bars. Section 2, definitions. As used in this order, administrator means administrator United States doggy or Doge service. Let me be nice. It's not doggy. It should be doggy, but we'll go with Doge for now. Services as defined in Executive Order 14158 of January 2025, establishing and implementing the President's Department of Government Efficiency. It's 8:10, so let's check this out real quick. I'm gonna read them more that way. Nah, they still over there doing their little thing. That's Scott Turner right there, I believe. I mean, I see one black man out. Y'all know how that go. But anyway, yeah. So B, agency has the meaning given to that term in Section 3502 and Title 44 United States Code, except that such term does not include the executive office of the president or any components thereof. C, agency head. This means the highest ranking official of an agency, such as secretary, administrator, chairman, or director. Agency heads may select designees within their agencies to carry out the responsibilities specified in this order. D, covered contracts and grants means direct discretionary spending through federal contracts, grants, loans, and related instruments, but excludes direct assistance of to individuals expenditures related to immigration enforcement, law enforcement, the military, public safety, and the intelligence community, and other crucial, acute, or emergency spending, as determined by the relevant agency head. Notification shall be made to the agency Doge team lead. E, Doge team lead means the leader of the Doge team at each agency as defined in Executive Order 14158. I'm pretty sure that would be Elon Musk. Check back. Okay, they're doing something. Something's happening. I might be lying. Cheryl says we were supported. We were supposed. Oh yeah, I just read that already. My bad. Yeah, they're still doing the standing around thing. So let's get back to this. I'm gonna hate myself for this editing process. Okay, so Section 3, cutting costs to save taxpayers money. And okay, so it's to save taxpayers' money. All right, all right. The intention seemed nice. Um, Contracts and grant justification. Each agency head shall, with assistance as requested from the agency's Doge team lead, build a centralized technological system within the agency to seamlessly record every payment issued by the agency pursuant to each of the agency's covered contracts and grants, along with a brief written jurisdiction for each payment submitted by the agency employee who approved the payment. This system shall include a mechanism for the agency head to pause and rapidly review any payment in for which the approving employees has not submitted a brief written jurisdiction within the technological system. Okay. Sounds good so far. Sounds like some auditing, basically. That's what that is. That's what all that literally just means. It just means they're gonna start auditing these different. They're gonna start. They're gonna get the auditing a lot of these funds that's passed through government. I mean, this is stuff that needs to happen. Definitely. Real quick, let's go back to it because it's 8:13. Like they used to be doing something should be happening by now. Like what's going on here? See, okay, there's Donnie right there. The golden man himself. Yo, the chat be chatting like they don't play around. So Don going out shaking people's hands. More handshaking, more handshaking. I don't know. Like as far as I don't know predictions as far as what we're gonna be seeing here. It's definitely good to just kind of prepare for the worst for the most part. Um, but at the same time, like Donald Trump is gonna do his best to make it sound spectacular, and that's he's doing what he does best, essentially. At least I would expect him to do what he does best. Um, if he crashes out, that'd be pretty interesting. I'm not gonna lie to you. So that would be interesting, I would say. But like, I don't know. Like my initial assumption is just it's gonna be talking about Zelensky, talking about the Ukraine situation. They're gonna be since they couldn't come up with some. Well, even though I don't think the mineral agreement was particularly pertaining to the Russia and the Russia Ukraine conflict at all, but I think that would still influence his decision on what to do with Ukraine in the defense of Ukraine. So if I won't be at all surprised if he essentially pulls out of I wouldn't be surprised if he pulls out support of Ukraine today. But here comes the USA chance. All right, so what you got here, Donnie, man? I very much appreciate the crash out, like for real. I can I can use a good react. Let me go ahead and for a second.
Speaker Johnson, Vice President Vance, the First Lady of the United States, members of the United States Congress, thank you very much. And to my fellow citizens, America is back.
I'll be the judge of that, Donnie. Gold or orange, make your decision, dog. Gold or orange.
Six weeks ago, I stood beneath the dome of this Capitol and proclaimed the dawn of the golden age of America. From that moment on, it has been nothing but swift and unrelenting action to usher in the greatest and most successful era in the history of our country. We have accomplished more in 43 days than most administrations accomplished in 4 years or 8 years, and we are just getting started. I return to this chamber tonight to report that America's momentum is back, our spirit is back, our pride is back, our confidence is back, and the American dream is surging bigger and better than ever before. The American dream is unstoppable, and our country is on the verge of a comeback, the likes of which the world has never witnessed and perhaps will never witness again. There's never been anything like it. The presidential election of November 5th was a mandate like has not been seen in many decades. We won all 7 swing states, giving us an electoral college victory of 312 votes.
I wonder which side is the Republican side.
We won the popular vote by big numbers and won counties in our country.
Ooh. Ooh. Dang. Wow, that's crazy. Democrats had something to say about that one.
1 counties in our country, 2,700 to 525, on a map that reads almost completely red for Republican. Now, for the first time in modern history, more Americans believe that our country is headed in the right direction than the wrong direction. In fact, it's an astonishing record, 27-point swing, the most ever.
All right, my nigga. Let's talk about those. Approval ratings, my guy. Because that's where it counts.
Likewise, small business optimism saw its single largest one-month gain ever recorded.
Mr. President.
A 41-point jump.
Democrats are not playing around, bro.
Members are directed to uphold and maintain decorum in the House and to cease any further disruptions. That's your warning.
They said screw your warning, my guy.
Members are engaging in willful and continuing breach of decorum, and the chair is prepared to direct the Sergeant-at-Arms to restore order to the joint session. Mr. Green, take your seat. Take your seat, sir. Take your seat. Finding that members continue to engage in willful and concerted disruption of proper decorum, the chair now directs the Sergeant-at-Arms to restore order. Remove this gentleman from the chamber.
My man, stand on business, man. I say let him stay on business. You gotta. Man, bro, stand on business.
Members are directed to uphold and maintain decorum in the House. Mr. President, you continue.
Thank you. Over the past 6 weeks, I have signed nearly 100 executive orders and taken more than 400 executive actions a record
70, whatever.
to restore common sense, safety, optimism, and wealth all across our wonderful land. The people elected me to do the job, and I'm doing it.
Oh, boy.
In fact, it has been stated by many that the first month of our presidency, it's our presidency, is the most successful in the history of our nation.
I'm sorry, what?
By many.
Nothing happened yet, my nigga. What? What are you talking about? How is this most successful when nothing happened yet? We don't know the effects of your decisions at all, my
What
guy.
makes it even more impressive is that, do you know who number 2 is? George Washington. How about that? How about that?
All right,
I don't
buddy.
know about that list, but we'll take it. Within hours of taking the oath of office, I declared a national emergency on our southern border, and I deployed the U.S. military and Border Patrol to repel the invasion of our country. And what a job they've done. As a result, illegal border crossings last month were by far the lowest ever recorded, ever. They heard my words and they chose not to come. Much easier that way. In comparison, under Joe Biden, the worst president in American history.
Oh no.
Hundreds of thousands of illegal crossings a month, and virtually all of them, including murderers, drug dealers, gang members, and people from mental institutions and insane asylums, were released into our country. Who would want to do that? This is my fifth such speech to Congress. And once again, I look at the Democrats in front of me, and I realize there is absolutely nothing I can say to make them happy or to make them stand or smile or applaud. Nothing I can do. I could find a cure to the most devastating disease, a disease that would wipe out.
Really?
Isn't St. Patrick's Day next month?
It's not a day, it's a season.
What the hell? Are you serious?
Will not stand and certainly will
Why
not
would he-
cheer for these astronomical achievements. They won't do it, no matter what. Five times I've been up here. It's very sad, and it just shouldn't be this way.
I'm gonna just back it up a little bit and then speed it up so then it'll catch up. So
Drug dealers, gang members, and people from mental institutions and insane asylums were released into our country. Who would want to do that? This is my fifth such speech to Congress. And once again, I look at the Democrats in front of me, and I realize there is absolutely nothing I can say to make them happy or to make them stand or smile or applaud. Nothing I can do. I could find a cure to the most devastating disease, a disease that would wipe out entire nations, or announce the answers to the greatest economy in history, or the stoppage of crime to the lowest levels ever recorded. And these people sitting right here will not clap, will not stand, and certainly will not cheer for these astronomical achievements. They won't do it, no matter what. Five times I've been up here. It's very sad, and it just shouldn't be this way.
oh wow, look at that. Look at that. Look at these. They got the signs up here. Okay, I see y'all. That's actually pretty intelligent. I'm not gonna lie to you.
So Democrats sitting before me, for just this one night, why not join us in celebrating so many incredible wins for America? For the good of our nation, let's work together and let's truly make America great again.
That's Presley right there.
Every day my administration is fighting to deliver the change America needs to bring a future that America deserves, and we're doing it. This is a time for big dreams and bold action. Upon taking office, I imposed an immediate freeze on all federal hiring, a freeze on all new federal regulations, and a freeze on all foreign aid. I terminated the ridiculous Green New Scam. I withdrew from the unfair Paris Climate Accord, which was costing us trillions of dollars that other countries were not paying. I withdrew from the corrupt World Health Organization. And I also withdrew from the anti-American UN Human Rights Council. We ended all of Biden's environmental restrictions that were making our country far less safe and totally unaffordable. And importantly, we ended the last administration's insane electric vehicle mandate, saving our auto workers and companies from economic destruction.
Man, that was a tough one. I first heard about that one. A lot of us definitely disagree with that. When
To
Biden.
tackle our economy, I have directed that for every one new regulation, 10 old regulations must be eliminated, just like I did in my very successful first term. And in that first term, we set records on ending unnecessary rules and regulations like no other president had done before. We ordered all federal workers to return to the office. They will either show up for work in person or be removed from their job.
The speech we playing normally now. I just want to catch it back up after that commercial.
And we have ended weaponized government where, as an example, a sitting president is allowed to viciously prosecute his political opponent, like me. How
Wow.
did that work out? Not too good. Not too good.
That's just crazy. Donnie is a snake. He did it.
have stopped all government censorship and brought back free speech in America. It's back.
Free speech in America. Like, America always had free speech. You just weren't free from, you just weren't free from
And
consequence.
2 days ago, I signed an order making English the official language of the United States of America.
All right. I guess.
I renamed the Gulf of Mexico the Gulf of America.
Oh God, that was cringe. Whatever, man. Gulf of America is ridiculous. That's cool. Hey, whatever. It's cool. It's whatever.
I renamed for a great president, William McKinley, Mount McKinley again.
I don't know, man. It's cool. I guess. Like this stuff, like this,
Alaska.
it-
Love Alaska.
it doesn't matter. But whatever. Who cares?
We've ended the tyranny of so-called diversity, equity, and inclusion policies all across the entire federal government and indeed the private sector and our military.
Yeah, and companies that acquiesce to that, we definitely respond in kind.
Will be woke no longer. We believe that whether you are a doctor,
With Monday.com,
Oh my God, these commercials are killing me.
Platform, you have the power. Not IT, not admins.
we believe that whether you are a doctor, an accountant, a lawyer, or an air traffic, no longer. We believe that whether you are a doctor, an accountant, a lawyer, or an air traffic controller, you should be hired and promoted based on skill and competence, not race or gender. Very important.
Bro, that wasn't it. That
You
was
should be
just a
hired
non-factor.
Based on merit. And the Supreme Court, in a brave and very powerful decision, has allowed us to do so. Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you. We have removed the poison of critical race theory from our public schools, and I signed an order making it the official policy of the United States government that there are only two genders, male and female.
Oh, and that's another conversation too, especially about the critical race theory. There's no CRT in public schools.
I also signed an executive order to ban men from playing in women's sports.
Yeah. Oh, I got no qualms with that one at all. I think a lot of my constituents agree with that one.
Was an all-star high school athlete, one of the best, preparing for a future in college sports. But when her girls' volleyball match was invaded by a male, he smashed the ball so hard in Peyton's face, causing traumatic brain injury, partially paralyzing her right side, and ending her athletic career. It was a shot like she's never seen before. She's never seen anything like it. Peyton is here tonight in the gallery, and Peyton, from now on, schools will kick the men off the girls' team, or they will lose all federal funding. And if you really want to see numbers, just take a look at what happened in the women's boxing, weightlifting, track and field, swimming, or cycling, where a male recently finished a long-distance race 5 hours and 14 minutes ahead of a woman for a new record by 5 hours. Broke the record by 5 hours. It's demeaning for women, and it's very bad for our country. We're not going to put up with it any longer.
I don't know what to say about that one, y'all. Y'all on your own. I don't know. Hey, like, proof is in the pudding with that one.
What I have just described is only a small fraction of the common sense revolution that is now, because of us, sweeping the entire world. Common sense has become a common theme, and we will never go back. Never. Never going to let that happen. Among my very highest priorities is to rescue our economy and get dramatic and immediate relief to working families. As you know, we inherited from the last administration an economic catastrophe and an inflation nightmare. Their policies drove up energy prices, pushed up grocery costs, and drove the necessities of life out of reach for millions and millions of Americans. They've never had anything like it. We suffered the worst inflation in 48 years, but perhaps even in the history of our country. They're not sure. As president, I'm fighting every day to reverse this damage and make America affordable again.
By doing what, my guy? Because I heard the projections from the economists. $11 trillion, like.
Joe Biden especially let the price of eggs get out of control. The egg price is out of control.
Bro, that was some bird flu shit, bro.
Get it back down, Secretary. Do a good job on that. You inherited a total mess from the previous administration. Do a good job. A major focus of our fight to defeat inflation is rapidly reducing the cost of energy. The previous administration cut the number of new oil and gas leases by 95%, slowed pipeline construction to a halt, and closed more than 100 power plants. We are opening up many of those power plants right now. And frankly, we have never seen anything like it. That's why on my first day in office, I declared a national energy emergency. As you've heard me say many times, we have more liquid gold under our feet than any nation on earth, and by far. And now I fully authorize the most talented team ever assembled to go and get it. It's called Drill, Baby, Drill. My administration is also working on a gigantic natural gas pipeline in Alaska, among the largest in the world, where Japan, South Korea, and other nations want to be our partner with investments of trillions of dollars each. There's never been anything like that one. It will be truly spectacular. It's all set to go. The permitting is gotten. And later this week, I will also take historic action to dramatically expand production of critical minerals and rare earths here in the USA. To further combat inflation, we will not only be reducing the cost of energy, but will be ending the flagrant waste of taxpayer dollars. And to that end, I have created the brand new Department of Government Efficiency.
Doggy.
DOGE. Perhaps you've heard of it. Perhaps. Which is headed by Elon Musk, who is in the gallery tonight.
All right, man. You wash your hand gestures, my nigga. we watch no salutes, Elon.
Thank you, Elon. He's working very hard. He didn't need this. He didn't need this. Thank you very much. We appreciate it.
He's taking
Everybody,
advantage of it.
Even
Shit.
this side appreciates it, I believe. They just don't want to admit that. Just listen to some of the appalling waste we have already identified. $22 billion from HHS to provide free housing and cars for illegal aliens. $45 million for diversity, equity, and inclusion scholarships in Burma. $40 million to improve the social and economic inclusion of sedentary migrants. Nobody knows what that is. $8 million to promote LGBTQI+
Uh-oh.
in the African nation of Lesotho, which nobody has ever heard of. $60 million for indigenous peoples and Afro-Colombian empowerment in Central America. $60 million. $8 million for making mice transgender. This is real.
Increase the
$32
volume,
million
okay.
for a left-wing propaganda operation in Moldova. $10 million for male circumcision in Mozambique. $20 million for the Arab Sesame Street in the Middle East. It's a program. $20 million for a program. $1.9 billion to recently created Decarbonization of Homes Committee, headed up, and we know she's involved. Just at the last moment, the money was passed over by a woman named Stacey Abrams. Have you ever heard of her?
Governor of Georgia.
A $3.5 million consulting contract for lavish fish monitoring. $1.5 million for voter confidence in Liberia. $14 million for social cohesion in Mali. $59 million for illegal alien hotel rooms in New York City. He's a real estate developer. He's done very well. $250,000 to increase vegan local climate action innovation in Zambia. $42 million for social and behavior change in Uganda. $14 million for improving public procurement in Serbia. $47 million for improving learning outcomes in Asia. Asia's doing very well with learning. I don't know what we're doing. Should use it ourselves. And $101 million for DEI contracts at the Department of Education, the most ever paid, nothing even like it. Under the Trump administration, all of these scams, and they're far worse, but I didn't think it was appropriate to talk about them. They're so bad. Many more have been found out and exposed and swiftly terminated by a group of very intelligent, mostly young people, headed up by Elon, and we appreciate it. We found hundreds of billions of dollars of fraud. And we've taken
What's the problem?
back the money and reduced our debt to fight inflation and other things. Taking back a lot of that money. We got it just in time. This is just the beginning. The Government Accountability Office, a federal government office, has estimated annual fraud of over $500 billion in our nation, and we are working very hard to stop it. We're going to. We're also identifying shocking levels of incompetence and probable fraud in the Social Security program for our seniors, and that our seniors and people that we love rely on. Believe it or not, government databases list 4.7 million Social Security members from people aged 100 to 109 years old.
Yeah.
It lists 3.6 million people from ages 110 to 119. I don't know any of them. I know some people that are rather elderly, but not quite that elderly. 3.47 million people from ages 120 to 129.
Yeah.
3.9 million people from ages 130 to 139. 3.5 million people from ages 140 to 149. And money is being paid to many of them, and we're searching right now. In fact, Pam, good luck. Good luck.
Yeah.
You're going to find it.
Not gonna
A
lie.
lot of money is paid out to people because it just keeps getting paid, and nobody does, and it really hurts Social Security and hurts our country. 1.3 million people from ages 150 to 159, and over 130,000 people, according to the Social Security databases, are age over 160 years old. We have a healthier country than I thought, Bobby.
Might be a W, but it requires research as well. I mean, I don't know anybody that's age 160 and above. I don't know anybody that's age past 110, to be honest. But, man, it look good on his ass.
Including, to finish, 1,039 people between the ages of 220 and 229. One person between the age of 240 and 249. And one person is listed at 360 years of age. More than 100 years. More than 100 years older than our country.
I would love to meet that nigga.
But we're going to find out where that money's going. And it's not going to be pretty. By slashing all of the fraud, waste, and theft we can find, we will defeat inflation, bring down mortgage rates, lower car payments and grocery prices, protect our seniors, and put more money in the pockets of American families. And today, interest rates took a beautiful drop, big, beautiful drop. It's about time. And in the near future, I want to do what has not been done in 24 years, balance the federal budget. We're going to balance it.
They got some Democrats over there clapping their hands. That's interesting. That's actually really interesting. We got some Democrats clapping their hands.
With that goal in mind, we have developed in great detail what we are calling the Gold Card, which goes on sale very, very soon. For $5 million, we will allow the most successful job-creating people from all over the world to buy a path to U.S. citizenship. It's like the green card, but better and more sophisticated.
I don't know about that
And
shit.
these people will have to pay tax in our country. They won't have to pay tax from where they came. The money that they've made, you wouldn't want to do that, but they have to pay tax, create jobs. They'll also be taking people out of colleges and paying for them so that we can keep them in our country instead of having them being forced out. Number one, at the top school, as an example, being forced out and not being allowed to stay and create tremendous numbers of jobs and great success
That dude
for
spat on his.
a company out there. So while we take out the criminals,
That's
killers,
gross.
traffickers, and child predators who are allowed to enter our country under the open border policy of these people, the Democrats, the Biden administration, the open border
Saliva.
insane policies that you've allowed to destroy our country, we will now bring in brilliant, hardworking, job-creating people. They're going to pay a lot of money, and we're going to reduce our debt with that money. Americans have given us a mandate for bold and profound change. For nearly 100 years, the federal bureaucracy has grown until it has crushed our freedoms, ballooned our deficits, and held back America's potential in every possible way. The nation founded by pioneers and risk takers now drowns under millions and millions of pages of regulations and debt. Approvals that should take 10 days to get instead take 10 years, 15 years, and even 20 years before you're rejected. Meanwhile, we have hundreds of thousands of federal workers who have not been showing up to work. My administration will reclaim power from this unaccountable bureaucracy, and we will restore true democracy to America again.
I would say it's a really big problem that the government is just as in disarray as it is. I would definitely say that. There's just some things he said is kind of crazy.
Who resist this change will be removed from office immediately. Because we are draining the swamp. It's very simple. And the days of rule by unelected bureaucrats are over.
Cheryl, Roland Martin is wrong for saying that. Roland Martin is wrong for telling black people not to watch this. That's a huge mistake.
And the next phase of our plan to deliver the greatest economy in history is for this Congress to pass tax cuts for everybody. They're in there. They're waiting for you to vote. And I'm sure that the people on my right, I don't mean the Republican right, but my right here, I'm sure you're going to vote for those tax cuts, because otherwise I don't believe the people will ever vote you into office. So I'm doing you a big favor by telling you that. But I know this group is going to be voting for the tax. Thank you. It's a very, very big part of our plan. We had tremendous success in our first term with it. A very big part of our plan. We're seeking permanent income tax cuts all across the board. And to get urgently needed relief to Americans hit especially hard by inflation, I'm calling for no tax on tips, no tax on overtime, and no tax on Social Security benefits for our great seniors.
Okay. Clears up that confusion. I saw a criticism there about that.
And I also want to make interest payments on car loans tax deductible, but only if the car is made in America. And by the way, we're going to have growth in the auto industry like nobody's ever seen. Plants are opening up all over the place. Deals are being made. Never seen. That's a combination of the election win and tariffs. It's a beautiful word, isn't it?
All over the place.
That, along with our other policies, will allow our auto industry to absolutely boom. It's going to boom. Spoke to the majors today, all three, the top people, and they're so excited. In fact, already numerous car companies have announced that they will be building massive automobile plants in America, with Honda just announcing a new plant in Indiana, one of the largest anywhere in the world.
Well, Honda's not an American company, though. So does that count for like those, for like this whole tariff situation? It's kind of confusing. So if it's built in America.
This has taken place since our great victory on November 5th, a date which will hopefully go down as one of the most important in the history of our country. In addition, as part of our tax cuts, we want to cut taxes on domestic production and all manufacturing. And just as we did before, we will provide 100% expensing. It will be retroactive to January 20th, 2025. And it was one of the main reasons why our tax cuts were so successful in our first term, giving us the most successful economy in the history of our country. First term. We had a great first term. If you don't make your product in America, however, under the Trump administration, you will pay a tariff, and in some cases, a rather large one. Other countries have used tariffs against us for decades, and now it's our turn to start using them against those other countries. On average, the European Union, China, Brazil, India, Mexico, and Canada, have you heard of them? And countless other nations charge us tremendously higher tariffs than we charge them. It's very unfair. India charges us auto tariffs higher than 100%. China's average tariff on our products is twice what we charge them. And South Korea's average tariff is 4 times higher. Think of that, 4 times higher. And we give so much help militarily and in so many other ways to South Korea, but that's what happened.
Give me a brief second about this.
5,000 years was once almost lost. Now, the world awaits the divine culture's return.
It was absolutely amazingly divine.
I thought I was going to heaven.
Breathtaking. It is absolutely stunning.
I feel better about the world. I feel uplifted.
Reciprocal tariffs.
I have never seen a production
and
any
whatever
better than
they
this
tariff
anywhere.
us,
This has
other
just been therapy
countries,
for the soul.
we will
It's a must-see.
tariff them. That's reciprocal, back and forth. Whatever they tax us, we will tax them.
Okay.
If they do non-monetary tariffs to keep us out of their market, then we will do non-monetary barriers to keep them out of our market. There's a lot of that, too. They don't even allow us in their market. We will take in trillions and trillions of dollars and create jobs like we have never seen before. I did it with China, and I did it with others, and the Biden administration couldn't do anything about it because there was so much money they couldn't do anything about it. We have been ripped off for decades by nearly every country on earth, and we will not let that happen any longer. Much has been said over the last 3 months about Mexico and Canada, but we have very large deficits with both of them. But even more importantly, they've allowed fentanyl to come into our country at levels never seen before, killing hundreds of thousands of our citizens and many very young, beautiful people, destroying families. Nobody's ever seen anything like it. They are, in effect, receiving subsidies of hundreds of billions of dollars. We pay subsidies to Canada and to Mexico of hundreds of billions of dollars, and the United States will not be doing that any longer. We're not going to do it any longer. Thanks to our America First policies we're putting into place, we have had $1.7 trillion of new investment in America in just the past few weeks. The combination of the election and our economic policies that people of SoftBank, one of the most brilliant anywhere in the world, announced a $200 billion investment. OpenAI and Oracle, Larry Ellison, announced $500 billion investment, which they wouldn't have done if Kamala had won. Apple announced $500 billion investment. Tim Cook called me. He said, I cannot spend it fast enough. It's going to be much higher than that, I believe. They'll be building their plants here instead of in China. And just yesterday, Taiwan Semiconductor, the biggest in the world, most powerful in the world, has a tremendous amount, 97% of the market, announced a $165 billion investment to build the most powerful chips on earth right here in the USA.
Some of these things are already set in place to come here anyway, honestly, especially those superconductor chips. And
we're not giving them any money. Your CHIPS Act is a horrible, horrible thing. We give hundreds of billions of dollars, and it doesn't mean a thing. They take our money and they don't spend it. All that meant to them, we're giving them no money. All that was important to them was they didn't want to pay the tariffs, so they came and they're building, and many other companies are coming. We don't have to give them money. We just want to protect our businesses and our people, and they will come because they won't have to pay tariffs if they build in America. So it's very amazing. You should get rid of the CHIP Act, and whatever's left over, Mr. Speaker, you should use it to reduce debt or any other reason you want to.
I'm just worried about the workforce at this point. I'm kind of concerned about the workforce, especially when we get what is getting all these immigrants.
A new trade policy will also be great for the American farmer. I love the farmer.
Really, you love the farmer? Is that so?
Selling into our home market, the USA, because nobody is going to be able to compete with you, because there's goods that come in from other countries and companies. They're really in a bad position in so many different ways. They're uninspected. They may be very dirty and disgusting, and they come in and they pour in, and they hurt our American farmers. The tariffs will go on agricultural product coming into America, and our farmers, starting on April 2nd, it may be a little bit of an adjustment period. We had that before when I made the deal with China, $50 billion of purchases, and I said, just bear with me, and they did. They did. Probably have to bear with me again, and this will be even better. That was great. The problem with it was that Biden didn't enforce it. He didn't enforce it. $50 billion of purchases, and we were doing great, but Biden did not enforce it, and it hurt our farmers. But our farmers are going to have a field day right now. So to our farmers, have a lot of fun. I love you too. I love you too. It's all going to happen.
That's interesting. Yeah, those farmers don't have workers.
Also impose a 25% tariff on foreign aluminum,
That nigga
copper,
fell
lumber,
asleep.
and steel, because if we don't have, as an example, steel and lots of other things, we don't have a military, and frankly, we just won't have a country very long. Here today is a proud American steelworker, fantastic person from Decatur, Alabama. Jeff Denard has been working at the same steel plant for 27 years in a job that has allowed him to serve as the captain of his local volunteer fire department, raise 7 children with his beautiful wife, Nicole, and over the years provide a loving home for more than 40 foster children. So great, Jeff. Thank you, Jeff. Thank you, Jeff. Stories like Jeff's remind us that tariffs are not just about protecting American jobs. They're about protecting the soul of our country. Tariffs are about making America rich again and making America great again, and it's happening, and it will happen rather quickly. There'll be a little disturbance, but we're okay with that. It won't be much. No, you're not. Oh.
That's funny.
And look where Biden took us. Very low, the lowest we've ever been. Jeff, I want to thank you very much, and I also want to recognize another person who has devoted herself to foster care community. She works so hard on it. A very loving person, our magnificent First Lady of the United States.
Veneers are so damn ugly to me. I can't stand veneers, boy.
Melania's work has yielded incredible results, helping prepare our nation's future leaders as they enter the workforce. Our First Lady is joined by 2 impressive young women, very impressive. Haley Ferguson, who benefited from the First Lady's Fostering the Future initiative and is poised to complete her education and become a teacher. And Elliston Berry, who became a victim of an illicit deepfake image produced by a peer. With Elliston's help, the Senate just passed the Take It Down Act, and this is so important. Thank you very much, John. John Thune, thank you. Stand up, John. Thank you, John. Thank you all very much. Thank you. And thank you to John Thune and the Senate. Great job. To criminalize the publication of such images online is a terrible, terrible thing. And once it passes the House, I look forward to signing that bill into law. Thank you. And I'm going to use that bill for myself, too, if you don't mind. Because nobody gets treated worse than I do online. Nobody. That's great. Thank you very much to the Senate. Thank you. But if we truly care about protecting Americans' children, no step is more crucial than securing America's borders. Over the past 4 years, 21 million people poured into the United States. Many of them were murderers, human traffickers, gang members, and other criminals from the streets of dangerous cities all throughout the world. Because of Joe Biden's insane and very dangerous open border policies, they are now strongly embedded in our country, but we are getting them out and getting them out fast. And I want to thank Tom Homan and Christy. I want to thank you and Paul of Border Patrol. I want to thank you. What a job they've all done, everybody. Border Patrol, ICE, law enforcement in general is incredible. We have to take care of our law enforcement. Have to. Last year, a brilliant 22-year-old nursing student named Laken Riley, the best in her class, admired by everybody, went out for a jog on the campus of the University of Georgia. That morning, Laken was viciously attacked, assaulted, beaten, brutalized, and horrifically murdered. Laken was stolen from us by a savage illegal alien gang member who was arrested while trespassing across Biden's open southern border and then set loose into the United States under the heartless policies of that failed administration. It was indeed a failed administration. He had then been arrested and released in a Democrat-run sanctuary city, a disaster, before ending the life of this beautiful young angel. With us this evening are Laken's beloved mother, Allison, and her sister, Lauren. Last year, I told Laken's grieving parents that we would ensure their daughter would not have died in vain. That's why the very first bill I signed into law as your 47th president mandates the detention of all dangerous criminal aliens who threaten public safety. It's a very strong, powerful act. It's called the Laken Riley Act. So Allison and Lauren, America will never, ever forget our beautiful Laken Hope Riley. Thank you very much. Since taking office, my administration has launched the most sweeping border and immigration crackdown in American history, and we quickly achieved the lowest numbers of illegal border crossers ever recorded. Thank you.
It's only been a month though, right? It only been like a couple months.
The media and our friends in the Democrat Party kept saying we needed new legislation. We must have legislation to secure the border. But it turned out that all we really needed was a new president.
Also, this is that's funny. That was funny. Yeah, they like that one. Yeah, they like that one.
Thank you. Joe Biden didn't just open our borders, he flew illegal aliens over them to overwhelm our schools, hospitals, and communities throughout the country. Entire towns like Aurora, Colorado, and Springfield, Ohio, buckled under the weight of the migrant occupation and corruption like nobody's ever seen before. Beautiful towns destroyed. Now, just as I promised in my inaugural address, we are achieving the great liberation of America. But there still is much work to be done. Here tonight is a woman I have gotten to know, Alexis Nungari from Houston. Wonderful woman. Last June, Alexis's 12-year-old daughter, her precious Jocelyn, walked to a nearby convenience store. She was kidnapped, tied up, assaulted for 2 hours under a bridge, and horrifically murdered. Arrested and charged with this heinous crime are 2 illegal alien monsters from Venezuela, released into America by the last administration through their ridiculous open border. The death of this beautiful 12-year-old girl and the agony of her mother and family touched our entire nation greatly. Alexis, I promised that we would always remember your daughter, your magnificent daughter, and earlier tonight, I signed an order keeping my word to you. One thing I have learned about Jocelyn is that she loved animals so much. She loved nature. Across Galveston Bay, from where Jocelyn lived in Houston, you will find a magnificent national wildlife refuge, a pristine, peaceful, 34,000-acre sanctuary for all of God's creatures on the edge of the Gulf of America. Alexis, moments ago, I formally renamed that refuge in loving memory of your beautiful daughter, Jocelyn. So, Mr. Vice President, if you would, may I have the order? Thank you very much. All 3 savages charged with Jocelyn and Lakin's murders were members of the Venezuelan prison gang, the toughest gang, they say, in the world, known as Tren de Aragua. 2 weeks ago, I officially designated this gang, along with MS-13 and the bloodthirsty Mexican drug cartels, as foreign terrorist organizations.
Yeah, the Ku Klux Klan is still not a terrorist organization.
They are now officially in the same category as ISIS, and that's not good for them. Countless thousands of these terrorists were welcomed into the U.S. by the Biden administration. But now every last one will be rounded up and forcibly removed from our country, or, if they're too dangerous, put in jails, standing trial in this country, because we don't want them to come back ever. With us this evening is a warrior on the front lines of that battle, Border Patrol Agent Roberto Ortiz. Great guy. In January, Roberto and another agent were patrolling by the Rio Grande near an area known as Cartel Island. Doesn't sound too nice to me. When heavily armed gunmen started shooting at them, Roberto saw that his partner was totally exposed, at great danger, and he leapt into action, returning fire and providing crucial seconds for his fellow agent to seek safety, just barely. I have some of the prints of that event, and it was not good. Agent Ortiz, we salute you for your great courage and for your line of fire that you took and for the bravery that you showed. We honor you, and we will always honor you. Thank you, Roberto, very much. Thank you, Roberto. And I actually got to know him on my many calls to the border. He's a great gentleman. The territory to the immediate south of our border is now dominated entirely by criminal cartels that murder, rape, torture, and exercise total control. They have total control over a whole nation, posing a grave threat to our national security. The cartels are waging war on America, and it's time for America to wage war on the cartels, which we are doing. Five nights ago, Mexican authorities, because of our tariff policies being imposed on them, think of this, handed over to us 29 of the biggest cartel leaders in their country. That has never happened before. They want to make us happy. First time ever. But we need Mexico and Canada to do much more than they've done, and they have to stop the fentanyl and drugs pouring into the USA. They're going to stop it. I have sent Congress a detailed funding request laying out exactly how we will eliminate these threats to protect our homeland and complete the largest deportation operation in American history, larger even than current record holder, President Dwight D. Eisenhower, a moderate man, but someone who believed very strongly in borders. Americans expect Congress to send me this funding without delay so I can sign it into law. So, Mr. Speaker, John Thune, both of you, I hope you're going to be able to do that, Mr. Speaker. Thank you. Mr. Leader, thank you. Thank you very much. And let's get it to me. I'll sign it so fast, you won't even believe it. And as we reclaim our sovereignty, we must also bring back law and order to our cities and towns.
Here it comes. Stop and frisk on the way.
In recent years, our justice system has been turned upside down by radical left lunatics. Many jurisdictions virtually ceased enforcing the law against dangerous repeat offenders while weaponizing law enforcement against political opponents like me. My administration has acted swiftly and decisively to restore fair, equal, and impartial justice under the constitutional rule of law, starting at the FBI and the DOJ. Pam, good luck. Cash, wherever you may be, good luck. Good luck. Pam Bondi. Good luck. So important. Going to do a great job. Cash, thank you. Thank you, Cash. They've already started very strong. They're going to do a fantastic job. You're going to be very proud of them. We're also once again giving our police officers the support, protection, and respect they so dearly deserve. They have to get it. They have such a hard, dangerous job, but we're going to make it less dangerous. The problem is the bad guys don't respect the law, but they're starting to respect it, and they soon will respect it. This also includes our great fire departments throughout the country. Our firemen and women are unbelievable people, and we'll never forget them. And besides that, they voted for me in record numbers, so I have no choice. One year ago this month, 31-year-old New York police officer Jonathan Diller, unbelievably wonderful person and a great officer, was gunned down at a traffic stop on Long Island. I went to his funeral. The vicious criminal charged with his murder had 21 prior arrests, and they were rough arrests, too. He was a real bad one. The thug in the seat next to him had 14 prior arrests and went by the name of Killer. He was Killer. He killed other people, they say, a lot of them. I attended Officer Diller's service, and when I met his wife and one-year-old son, Ryan, it was very inspirational, actually. His widow's name is Stephanie, and she is here tonight. Stephanie, thank you very much, Stephanie. Thank you very much. Stephanie, we're going to make sure that Ryan knows his dad was a true hero, New York's finest, and we're going to get these cold-blooded killers and repeat offenders off our streets, and we're going to do it fast. Got to stop it. They get out with 28 arrests. They push people into subway trains. They hit people over the head, back of the head with baseball bats. We got to get them out of here. I've already signed an executive order requiring a mandatory death penalty for anyone who murders a police officer. And tonight I'm asking Congress to pass that policy.
That's fucking crazy. Mandatory death penalty. Damn, that's serious right there. Mandatory. Wow.
I'm also asking for a new crime bill getting tough on repeat offenders while enhancing protections for America's police officers so they can do their jobs without fear of their lives being totally destroyed. They don't want to be killed. We're not going to let them be killed. Joining us in the gallery tonight is a young man who truly loves our police. His name is DJ Daniel. He is 13 years old, and he has always dreamed of becoming a police officer. But in 2018, DJ was diagnosed with brain cancer. The doctors gave him 5 months at most to live. That was more than 6 years ago. Since that time, DJ and his dad have been on a quest to make his dream come true, and DJ has been sworn in as an honorary law enforcement officer, actually a number of times. The police love him, the police departments love him. And tonight, DJ, we're going to do you the biggest honor of them all. I am asking our new Secret Service Director, Sean Curran, to officially make you an agent of the United States Secret Service. Thank you, DJ. DJ's doctors believe his cancer likely came from a chemical he was exposed to when he was younger. Since 1975, rates of child cancer have increased by more than 40%. Reversing this trend is one of the top priorities for our new presidential commission to make America healthy again, chaired by our new Secretary of Health and Human Services, Robert F. Kennedy, Jr. With the name Kennedy, you would have thought everybody over here would have been cheering. How quickly they forget. Our goal is to get toxins out of our environment, poisons out of our food supply, and keep our children healthy and strong. As an example, not long ago, and you can't even believe these numbers, 1 in 10,000 children had autism, 1 in 10,000. And now it's 1 in 36. There's something wrong, 1 in 36, think of that. So we're gonna find out what it is, and there's nobody better than Bobby and all of the people that are working with you. You have the best to figure out what is going on. Okay, Bobby? Good
1 in
luck.
36 is
It's a very
insane.
important job, thank you.
1 in 36 is really bad.
Thank you. My administration is also working to protect our children from toxic ideologies in our schools. A few years ago, January Littlejohn and her husband discovered that their daughter's school had secretly socially transitioned their 13-year-old little girl. Teachers and administrators conspired to deceive January and her husband while encouraging her daughter to use a new name and pronouns. They, them pronoun, actually, all without telling January, who is here tonight and is now a courageous advocate against this form of child abuse. January, thank you. Thank you. Thank you very much.
Her daughter never coming back either. She never coming back. I don't feel sorry for her. I'm sorry. I don't care.
Thank you. Stories like this are why, shortly after taking office, I signed an executive order banning public schools from indoctrinating our children with transgender ideology. I also signed an order to cut off all taxpayer funding to any institution that engages in the sexual mutilation of our youth.
I can get with that, though. Let those kids make the decision when they're 18.
I want Congress to pass a bill permanently banning and criminalizing sex changes on children and forever ending the lie that any child is trapped in the wrong body. This is a big lie. And our message to every child in America is that you are perfect exactly the way God made you.
Donnie know what to say. He knows how to say it.
Because we're getting wokeness out of our schools and out of our military, and it's already out, and it's out of our society. We don't want it. Wokeness is trouble. Wokeness is bad. It's gone. It's gone. And we feel so much better for it, don't we? Don't we feel better?
Yeah, just like my thing about this woke shit is don't conflate wokeness with fucking black history.
Our service members won't be activists and ideologues. They will be fighters and warriors. They will fight for our country. And Pete, congratulations. Secretary of Defense, congratulations. And he's not big into the woke movement, I can tell you. I know him well. I am pleased to report that in January, the U.S. Army had its single best recruiting month in 15 years, and that all armed services are having among the best recruiting results ever in the history of our services. What a difference. And you know, it was just a few months ago where the results were exactly the opposite. We couldn't recruit anywhere. We couldn't recruit. Now we're having the best results just about that we've ever had. What a tremendous turnaround. It's really a beautiful thing to see. People love our country again. It's very simple. They love our country, and they love being in our military again. So it's a great thing, and thank you very much. Great job. Thank you. We're joined tonight
Bernie
by a
Sanders.
young man, Jason Hartley, who knows the
Bernie's
weight of
there.
that Call of Duty. Jason's father, grandfather, and great-grandfather all wore the uniform. Jason tragically lost his dad, who was also a Los Angeles County Sheriff's deputy when he was just a boy, and now he wants to carry on the family legacy of service. Jason is a senior in high school, a 6-letter varsity athlete, a really good athlete, they say, a brilliant student with a 4.46, that's good, GPA. And his greatest dream is to attend the U.S. Military Academy at West Point. And Jason, that's a very big deal getting in. That's a hard one to get into. But I'm pleased to inform you that your application has been accepted. You will soon be joining the Corps of Cadets. Thank you. Jason, you're going to be on the long gray line, Jason. As Commander-in-Chief, my focus is on building the most powerful military of the future. As a first step, I'm asking Congress to fund a state-of-the-art Golden Dome missile defense shield to protect our homeland, all made in the USA. And Ronald Reagan wanted to do it long ago, but the technology just wasn't there, not even close. But now we have the technology. It's incredible, actually. And other places, they have it. Israel has it. Other places have it. And the United States should have it too, right, Tim, right? They should have it too. So I want to thank you. But it's a very, very important. This is a very dangerous world. We should have it. We want to be protected, and we're going to protect our citizens like never before. To boost our defense industrial base, we are also going to resurrect the American shipbuilding industry, including commercial shipbuilding and military shipbuilding. And for that purpose, I am announcing tonight that we will create a new Office of Shipbuilding in the White House and offer special tax incentives to bring this industry home to America where it belongs. We used to make so many ships. We don't make them anymore very much, but we're going to make them very fast, very soon. It will have a huge impact. To further enhance our national security, my administration will be reclaiming the Panama Canal, and we've already started doing it. Just today, a large American company announced they are buying both ports around the Panama Canal and lots of other things having to do with the Panama Canal and a couple of other canals. The Panama Canal was built by Americans for Americans, not for others, but others could use it. But it was built at tremendous cost of American blood and treasure. 38,000 workers died building the Panama Canal. They died of malaria. They died of snake bites and mosquitoes. Not a nice place to work. They paid them very highly to go there, knowing there was a 25% chance that they would die.
25%?
The most expensive project also that was ever built in our country's history, if you bring it up to modern day costs. It was given away by the Carter administration for $1. But that agreement has been violated very severely. We didn't give it to China. We gave it to Panama, and we're taking it back. And we have Marco Rubio in charge. Good luck, Marco. Now, we know who to blame if anything goes wrong. Marco's been amazing, and he's going to do a great job. Think of it. He got 100 votes. You know, he was approved with actually 99, but the 100th was this gentleman, and I feel very certain. So let's assume he got 100 votes. And I'm either very, very happy about that or I'm very concerned about it. But he's already proven. I mean, he's a great gentleman. He's respected by everybody, and we appreciate you voting for Marco. He's going to do a fantastic job. Thank you. Thank you. He's doing a great job. Great job. And I also have a message tonight for the incredible people of Greenland. We strongly support your right to determine your own future. And if you choose, we welcome you into the United States of America. We need Greenland for national security and even international security, and we're working with everybody involved to try and get it. But we need it really for international world security, and I think we're going to get it. One way or the other, we're going to get it. We will keep you safe. We will make you rich, and together we will take Greenland to heights like you have never thought possible before. It's a very small population, but very, very large piece of land and very, very important for military security. America is once again standing strong against the forces of radical Islamic terrorism. 3.5 years ago, ISIS terrorists killed 13 American service members and countless others in the Abbey Gate bombing during the disastrous and incompetent withdrawal from Afghanistan. Not that they were withdrawing, it was the way they withdrew. Perhaps the most embarrassing moment in the history of our country. Tonight, I am pleased to announce that we have just apprehended the top terrorist responsible for that atrocity, and he is right now on his way here to face the swift sword of American justice. And I want to thank especially the government of Pakistan for helping arrest this monster. This was a very momentous day for those 13 families who I actually got to know very well, most of them, whose children were murdered, and the many people that were so badly, over 42 people, so badly injured on that fateful day in Afghanistan. What a horrible day. Such incompetence was shown that when Putin saw what happened, I guess he said, wow, maybe this is my chance. That's how bad it was. Should have never happened. Grossly incompetent people. I spoke to many of the parents and loved ones, and they're all in our hearts tonight. Just spoke to them on the phone. We had a big call. Every one of them called, and everybody was on the line, and they did nothing but cry with happiness. They were very happy, as happy as you can be under those circumstances. Their child, brother, sister, son, daughter was killed for no reason whatsoever. In the Middle East, we're bringing back our hostages from Gaza. In my first term, we achieved one of the most groundbreaking peace agreements in generations, the Abraham Accords. And now we're going to build on that foundation to create a more peaceful and prosperous future for the entire region. A lot of things are happening in the Middle East. People have been talking about that so much lately with everything going on with Ukraine and Russia. But a lot of things are happening in the Middle East. It's a rough neighborhood, actually. I'm also working tirelessly to end the savage conflict in Ukraine. Millions of Ukrainians and Russians have been needlessly killed or wounded in this horrific and brutal conflict with no end in sight. The United States has sent hundreds of billions of dollars to support Ukraine's defense with no security, with no anything. Do you want to keep it going for another 5 years? Yeah, you would say Pocahontas says yes. $2,000 people are being killed every single week. More than that. They're Russian young people. They're Ukrainian young people. They're not Americans. But I want it to stop. Meanwhile, Europe has sadly spent more money buying Russian oil and gas than they have spent on defending Ukraine by far. Think of that.
Wow, that's crazy.
They've spent more buying Russian oil and gas than they have defending.
Shots
And
fired.
we've spent perhaps $350 billion, like taking candy from a baby. That's what happened. And they've spent $100 billion. What a difference that is. And we have an ocean separating us, and they don't. But we're getting along very well with them, and lots of good things are happening. Biden has authorized more money in this fight than Europe has spent by billions and billions of dollars. It's hard to believe that they wouldn't have stopped it and said at some point, come on, let's equalize. You got to be equal to us. But that didn't happen. Earlier today, I received an important letter from President Zelensky of Ukraine. The letter reads, Ukraine is ready to come to the negotiating table as soon as possible to bring lasting peace closer. Nobody wants peace more than the Ukrainians, he said. My team and I stand ready to work under President Trump's strong leadership to get a peace that lasts. We do really value how much America has done to help Ukraine maintain its sovereignty and independence. Regarding the agreement on minerals and security, Ukraine is ready to sign it at any time that is convenient for you. I appreciate that he sent this letter, just got it a little while ago. Simultaneously, we've had serious discussions with Russia and have received strong signals that they are ready for peace. Wouldn't that be beautiful? Wouldn't that be beautiful?
Ukraine bent the knee. They folded. Very interesting. It was inevitable though. They got no leverage. It was inevitable.
It's time to stop this madness. It's time to halt the killing. It's time to end this senseless war. If you want to end wars, you have to talk to both sides. Nearly 4 years ago, amid rising tensions, a history teacher named Mark Fogel was detained in Russia and sentenced to 14 years in a penal colony. Rough stuff. The previous administration barely lifted a finger to help him. They knew he was innocent, but they had no idea where to begin. But last summer, I promised his 95-year-old mother, Malphine, that we would bring her boy safely back home. After 22 days in office, I did just that, and they are here tonight. To Mark and his great mom, we are delighted to have you safe and sound and with us. As fate would have it, Mark Fogel was born in a small rural town in Butler, Pennsylvania. Have you heard of it? Where his mother has lived for the past 78 years. I just happened to go there last July 13th for a rally. That was not pleasant. And that is where I met his beautiful mom right before I walked onto that stage. And I told her I would not forget what she said about her son. And I never did I? Never forgot. Less than 10 minutes later, at that same rally, gunfire rang out, and a sick and deranged assassin unloaded 8 bullets from his sniper's perch into a crowd of many thousands of people. My life was saved by a fraction of an inch, but some were not so lucky. Corey Comparator was a firefighter, a veteran, a Christian, a husband, a devoted father, and above all, a protector. When the sound of gunshots pierced the air, it was a horrible sound. Corey knew instantly what it was and what to do. He threw himself on top of his wife and daughters and shielded them from the bullets with his own body. Corey was hit really hard. You know the story from there. He sacrificed his life to save theirs. 2 others, very fine people, were also seriously hit. But thankfully, with the help of 2 great country doctors, we thought they were gone, and they were saved. So those doctors had great talent. We're joined by Corey's wife, Helen, who was his high school sweetheart, and their 2 beloved daughters, Allison and Kaylee. Thank you. To Helen, Allison, and Kaylee, Corey is looking down on his three beautiful ladies right now, and he is cheering you on. He loves you. He is cheering you on. Corey was taken from us much too soon, but his destiny was to leave us all with a shining example of the selfless devotion of a true American patriot. It was love like Corey's that built our country, and it's love like Corey's that is going to make our country more majestic than ever before. I believe that my life was saved that day in Butler for a very good reason. I was saved by God to make America great again. I believe that. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you very much. From the patriots of Lexington and Concord to the heroes of Gettysburg and Normandy, from the warriors who crossed the Delaware to the trailblazers who climbed the Rockies, and from the legends who soared at Kitty Hawk to the astronauts who touched the moon, Americans have always been the people who defied all odds, transcended all dangers, made the most extraordinary sacrifices, and did whatever it took to defend our children, our country, and our freedom. And as we have seen in this chamber tonight, that same strength, faith, love, and spirit is still alive and thriving in the hearts of the American people. Despite the best efforts of those who would try to censor us, silence us, break us, destroy us, Americans are today a proud, free, sovereign, and independent nation that will always be free, and we will fight for it till death. We will never let anything happen to our beloved country, because we are a country of doers, dreamers, fighters, and survivors. Our ancestors crossed a vast ocean, strode into the unknown wilderness, and carved their fortunes from the rock and soil of a perilous and very dangerous frontier. They chased our destiny across a boundless continent. They built the railroads, laid the highways, and graced the world with American marvels like the Empire State Building, the mighty Hoover Dam, and the towering Golden Gate Bridge. They lit the world with electricity, broke free of the force of gravity, fired up the engines of American industry, vanquished the communists, fascists, and Marxists all over the world, and gave us countless modern wonders sculptured out of iron, glass, and steel. We stand on the shoulders of these pioneers who won and built the modern age, these workers who poured their sweat into the skylines of our cities, these warriors who shed their blood on fields of battle and gave everything they had for our rights and for our freedom. Now it is our time to take up the righteous cause of American liberty. And it is our turn to take America's destiny into our own hands and begin the most thrilling days in the history of our country. This will be our greatest era. With God's help, over the next 4 years, we are going to lead this nation even higher, and we are going to forge the freest, most advanced, most dynamic, and most dominant civilization ever to exist on the face of this earth.
How?
We are going to create the highest quality of life, build the safest and wealthiest and healthiest and most vital communities anywhere in the world. We are going to conquer the vast frontiers of science, and we are going to lead humanity into space and plant the American flag on the planet Mars and even far beyond. And through it all, we are going to rediscover the unstoppable power of the American spirit. And we are going to renew unlimited promise of the American dream, Every single day we will stand up and we will fight, fight, fight for the country our citizens believe in and for the country our people deserve. My fellow Americans, get ready for an incredible future because the golden age of America has only just begun. It will be like nothing that has ever been seen before. Thank you, God bless you, and God bless America.
Oh my. Looks like they leaving. Okay. It looks like it's people are leaving. Yeah, so I'm gonna go ahead and work this down. So if they say something, I'm gonna be able to hear it, and I'll throw the volume back up. Unfortunately, I can't use the camera I want to use, unfortunately, but this side I want to do just fine, honestly. Okay, so he said a lot. He said a whole lot. Damn near 2 and hours some change worth of shit. But I did take quite a bit of notes, and just to be able to talk about some things that I have a little bit of understanding on. See, I think they're done here for real, so I can just kind of mute this up so y'all can hear me better. Okay, so I want to go to some of these comments first. I did see some pretty interesting ones. Shout outs to y'all for telling me. Shout outs to y'all for letting me know to turn my volume up. So definitely much appreciate that. Yeah, Roland Martin telling black people not to watch this is a huge error. He should be ashamed of himself for trying to convince black people that this is not worth watching. Black people need to be fully engaged in politics. Period. It don't matter who is the president. No matter who's taking what position, these people need to be listening to everything, every syllable that they say, and we have to make it make sense. We have to make it make sense for our own collective struggles, right? Because if he with the things that he says, I don't know how else to put it. If we're not aware of the things that he says, then when it happens, like, we'll be surprised and we'll be essentially caught with our pants down. Like, we have to, like, literally completely engage in politics, period. So, Roland Martin saying something like that is completely foolish. What does y'all say here? Reparations, cut the check. Yeah, Cheryl has, like, definitely been on fire for saying that. I don't know. I think a big miscommunication I've been hearing amongst the online space is like this idea of like reparations, idea around tangibles. It's like look, unfortunately, we're in a political climate where reparations and tangibles and blacks or freemen specific legislation is just too far left for any political party to take serious, unfortunately. And we are all going to have to come together and then organize and then strategize a way of making what matters to us more of a talking point within the political space. So that's gonna be on us. It's as simple as that. I mean, I know a lot of people try to say, "Oh, well, we got to vote the right politicians in, and we got to we have to hold them accountable if they don't." do what we need them to do. Like, hey, I get it, but the fact of the matter is, the only people that's truly gonna care about our own struggles is us. You know what I'm saying? So that's just kind of where I'm at with that. That will require us to start to go in our town halls. That's gonna require us to like really take full advantage of everything. I was just told that Bernie Sanders is online, is live. I wonder how long he's gonna be. Let me see what Bernie Sanders is talking about real quick. Why's my mouse set? Oh, here it is. Here it is. This is gonna take a minute. Give me a second. Bernie Sanders, he must have got up. He must have got up out of his seat immediately. Let me cut to a break for a brief second so I can get this prepared.
You say something that is grossly false, say it over and over again, and have right-wing social media blast it out endless times until people actually believe it. And then, rather than address the real issues facing the American people, the struggles that the American people are facing, we find ourselves wasting endless amounts of time discussing Trump's absurdities. Let me just give you a very few examples. Trump claimed that the 2020 election was stolen from him and that he won by a landslide. Remember that? A lie. Trump claimed that the January 6th insurrection was a day of love. A lie. Trump has claimed that millions of undocumented people voted and do vote in American elections. A lie. Trump has claimed that climate change is a hoax originating in China. A lie.
That's a huge lie.
Trump has claimed that Ukraine started the horrific war with Russia. A lie.
That's a lie.
And
yeah.
tonight, just tonight, Trump claimed that millions of dead people between the ages of 100 and 360, I guess, were collecting Social Security checks. And that is an outrageous lie intended to lay the groundwork for cuts to Social Security and dismantling the most successful and popular government program in history. So let's be clear about that. Well over 99% of Social Security checks are going out to people who earned those checks. 70 million Americans. Nobody who was 150 years old or 200 years old or 300 years old is receiving Social Security checks.
Well, they're not alive.
And on the lies go. Now, the purpose of all of this lying is not just to push his hateful right-wing ideology. It is not just to try to divide us up. It is more than that. It is a masterful effort, and you saw that tonight, to deflect attention away from the most important issues facing the people of our country. Issues that Trump and his billionaire friends do not want to address because it is not in their financial interests to do so. Trump gave his State of the Union speech tonight. But if you listen closely, that speech had very little to say about the State of the Union, about what is really going on in our country, especially for working families. Trump spoke for over 90 minutes, although I must confess it seemed a lot longer than that, and he almost completely ignored the issues that are keeping working people up at night as they worry about how their families are going to survive in these very tough times. And I will tell you exactly why Trump had very little to say about the real crises facing the working class of this country. Think back 6 weeks ago when Trump was inaugurated for his second term as president, just 6 weeks ago. Standing right behind him were the three wealthiest men in this country, Mr. Musk, Mr. Bezos, and Mr. Zuckerberg. And standing behind them were 13 other billionaires who Trump had nominated to head major government agencies. Many of these same billionaires, including Musk, were in the Capitol tonight listening to that speech. In other words, it is there for all to see. The Trump administration is not hiding it. The Trump administration is a government of the billionaire class, by the billionaire class, and for the billionaire class. Notwithstanding some of their rhetoric, this is a government that could care less about ordinary Americans and the working families of our country. My friends, we are no longer moving toward oligarchy. We are living in an oligarchic society. Now let's take a moment and try to escape from Trump's parallel universe, the universe that you heard tonight. And let's do something really, really radical. Let's actually take a hard look at the problems that Americans are facing. Today, 60% of Americans are living paycheck to paycheck.
True.
Unlike Trump, I grew up in a family that lived paycheck to paycheck, and I know something about that reality. It means that every day, millions of Americans worry about how they're going to pay their rent, pay for childcare, pay for a doctor's visit when they get sick. They worry about what happens when their car breaks down and they can't afford the $1,000 it costs to get it fixed, and what happens when they can't get to work because they don't have a car. They worry about how they can afford to buy healthy food for their kids when the price of food is off the charts. Funny? I heard Trump speaking for 90 minutes tonight. I didn't hear one word from him about the economic reality facing 60% of our people, or the enormous stress that they are living under. 90-minute speech, not one word about the economic reality facing American workers. But that's not all. Today in America, everyone knows that our healthcare system is broken. It is dysfunctional, and it is outrageously expensive. We remain the only wealthy nation on earth not to guarantee health care for all. Mr. President, you really want to make America great again? Then make sure that every American, regardless of income, can go to a doctor or a hospital and not worry about how they're going to pay the bills. President Trump, health care is a human right. I didn't hear one word from you, not one word. Over 90-minute speech, not one word from you about the health care crisis that is impacting many, many millions of our people. Nor did I hear you say why we pay by far the highest prices in the world for prescription drugs, sometimes 10 times more than the people in other countries, and why 1 out of 4 Americans are unable to afford the prescriptions their doctors prescribe. Not one word about the outrageously high cost of prescription drugs. Mr. President, we have nearly 800,000 Americans who are homeless. Over 20 million of our people spend more than half of their limited income on housing. We have a major housing crisis in America. Everyone knows it, apparently, except you. Because in your speech tonight, I didn't hear you mention the housing crisis. Today in America, we have more income and
That's
wealth
huge.
inequality than we've ever had. 3 richest people in America, the folks Trump invited to stand behind him at his inauguration, now own more wealth than the bottom half of our society, 170 million Americans. Did anyone out there hear one word from the President of the United States on that enormously important issue which gets to the very fabric of our society? So few owning so much while so many people suffer. And here's something else the President forgot to discuss. Not only is our life expectancy 4 years lower than other wealthy countries, the bottom 50% in this country, the working class of America, on average, live 7 years shorter lives than the top 1%. Got that? In other words, being poor or working class in this country today is a death sentence. Did you hear any discussion tonight as to why so many of our people are living shorter lives than they should? During his speech tonight, Trump did not have one word to say about how we are going to address the planetary crisis of climate change. The last 10 years, as most Americans know, have been the warmest ever recorded, and extreme weather disturbances and natural disasters have been taking place all over the world, from California to India, across Europe to North Carolina. And yet, not surprisingly, Trump had nothing to say about climate change except, I guess, drill, baby, drill. Well, that's going to help a whole lot. And let's be clear. Not only did Trump fail to talk about some of the most important issues facing the working class of America, but the solutions, in quote, he proposed would only make a bad situation even worse. Yep, I did hear Trump talk tonight about some tax breaks for working families in terms of not taxing tips, not taxing Social Security, and not taxing overtime. Fine. But that is chump change compared to the benefits he's going to give to the 1%, and it doesn't tell the whole story about his tax policies. According to a recent study by the Institute on Taxation and Economic Policy, if all of Trump's so-called America First policies are enacted, including his tariffs, which he spoke a lot about tonight, the bottom 95% of Americans will see their taxes go up, while the richest 5% in our country will see their taxes go down, way down. Tonight, in so many words, Trump urged Congress to pass his big, beautiful budget. Do you know what's really in it? This budget would cut Medicaid by $880 billion. Oh, I guess Trump forgot to talk about that. $880 billion cut in Medicaid. According to one estimate, it means that up to 36 million Americans, including millions of children, would be thrown off the health insurance they have. Hey, a 90-minute speech tonight, not one word about throwing millions of kids off of the health insurance they have. When you cut Medicaid drastically, it means that nursing homes that receive 2/3 of their funding from Medicaid will either have to shut down, lay off workers, or significantly scale back the services they provide seniors. Gee, I didn't hear that from Trump tonight either. It would be a devastating blow, these cuts to Medicaid, for the 32 million Americans who get their health care at community health centers. And it's not just Medicaid that Trump's budget would cut. It would also cut nutrition assistance by at least $230 billion. Now, I want you to think about that for a moment. And can you imagine? The billionaire class, people who can support their families, some of these guys have tens of billions of dollars, support their families for the next 10 generations, 50 generations. People who live in incredible opulence. People who own their own jet planes, they own their own private islands, they own their own spaceships, trying to get tax breaks by taking food out of the mouths of low-income kids. That truly is disgusting.
Yeah.
What we are seeing is
Yeah.
the Robin Hood principle in reverse. Taking from the poor and giving to the rich and the very, very rich. And here is something else Trump has been doing. For the past several weeks, he and his good friend Elon Musk, who was up there in the audience tonight, have been throwing hundreds of thousands of federal employees off their jobs. Now, I know some of you are saying, well, that's too bad, but that's the federal government, not me, it's not me, it's just those guys who work for the federal government. But I want you to think about this. Think about it for a moment. If Musk and his friends can arbitrarily throw federal workers out on the street today, what do you think that Musk and his fellow billionaires will be doing tomorrow when artificial intelligence and robotics explode in this country? Do you think they'll give a damn about you and your families? No, they will treat you exactly the way they're treating federal employees today. You will be out on the street as well. But it is not only absurd domestic policies that we've got to fight. For the first time in our 250-year history, we have a president who is turning his back on democracy and allying us with authoritarianism. No, we must not abandon the people of Ukraine who were invaded by the Russian dictator Vladimir Putin. We must always stand for democracy, not dictatorship. Let me be very clear. Regardless of where Trump is taking this country, here's what I think and what I believe the American people want us to do. They want us to end a corrupt campaign finance system. Well, golly gee, I didn't hear Mr. Trump talk about that tonight. A corrupt campaign finance system which allows a handful of billionaires to buy elections.
Yep.
It is beyond crazy that someone like Elon Musk can contribute over $270 million to help get Trump elected, and then he gets to run the government. It is absurd that any member of Congress who stands up to Netanyahu's brutal war in Gaza can expect to be opposed by millions of dollars in campaign contributions coming from AIPAC. The American people want us to end this disastrous Citizens United Supreme Court decision and move to the public funding of elections. Democracy is supposed to be about one person, one vote, not billionaires buying the political candidates of their choice. And further, no, we should not be giving tax breaks to billionaires. That's not what we should be doing. We must demand that the wealthiest people in this country start paying their fair share of taxes. We must raise the federal minimum wage of $7.25 an hour to a living wage of at least $17 an hour. We must make it easier for workers to join trade unions, grow the union movement, and prevent corporations from violating labor laws with impunity by passing the PRO Act, legislation that I will be introducing tomorrow. No, we are not going to cut Social Security. Quite the contrary. We must expand Social Security benefits and extend its solvency for the next 75 years by scrapping the cap that allows a billionaire to pay the same amount into Social Security as a truck driver. Too many of our seniors are hurting today for us to be talking about cutting Social Security. Over 20% seniors in this country living on $15,000 a year or less. Further, instead of making massive cuts to Medicaid, we must join every other major country in guaranteeing health care to all of our people through a Medicare for All single-payer program. We must also take on the greed of the pharmaceutical industry, get them to charge us what they charge other countries, reducing prescription drug prices by 50%. And at a time of a terrible housing crisis in Vermont and in every area of our country, we must build at least 4 million units of low-income and affordable housing, stop corporate landlords from jacking up rent prices, and establish a cap on rent. In a competitive global economy, we need the best educated workforce in the world. All of our young people must have the ability to get a higher education by making public colleges, trade schools, and universities tuition-free and canceling student debt. Yes, we can create millions of good-paying jobs by combating climate change and moving our energy system away from fossil fuels and into sustainable energy. You know, I heard a lot of talk about freedom tonight from Mr. Trump. Well, in a free society, we must absolutely guarantee that it is the women of America who control their own bodies, not the local, state, or federal governments. Now, I know, because I've heard from many of you, that there are a lot of people out there who are feeling angry and frustrated at what's going on here in Washington, D.C. And some of you may feel a bit hopeless. So let me say this. At this particular moment in history, despair is not an option. Giving up is not acceptable. And none of us have the privilege of hiding under the covers. The stakes are just too high. Let us never forget, real change only occurs when ordinary people stand up by the millions
My bad.
against oppression and injustice and fight back. That is the history of the founding of our nation, when brave men and women took on the mighty, invincible British Empire. It is the history of the abolitionist movement, the history of the labor movement, the history of the civil rights movement, the women's movement, the environmental movement, and the gay rights movement. Yes, I know. The oligarchs are enormously powerful. I deal with them every day. I know that. Yes, they have endless amounts of money. Yes, they control our economy, and they own much of the media. They have enormous influence over our political system. But from the bottom of my heart, I am convinced that they can be beaten. If we stand together and not let them divide us up by the color of our skin, or where we were born, or our religion, or the language we speak, or our sexual orientation. If we bring our people together around an agenda that works for the many and not just the few, there is nothing in the world that can stop us. We can win. We will win. Let us go forward together. Thank you all very much.
All right. Jeez, that guy. I'm sorry. I have listened to him at 2x speed. Okay. I did want to listen to Bernie Sanders first, because I did have a hunch that he was going to get the rebuttal in a lot of what Donald Trump was going to be saying. It seemed like it was pretty written. It's like he just already knew that what he wasn't going to address, which is pretty funny, really. But just gonna shotgun past some of the things he had mentioned. Working class crisis regarding folks living paycheck to paycheck. It's very unfortunate that Donald Trump didn't make mention of that. I want to say technically he kind of did. because like he kind of expects this whole tariff situation. He kind of expects him addressing the economic situation by way of creating jobs and utilizing the tariffs to save taxpayers' money, stuff like that. He believes that's gonna solve a lot of these problems, especially the housing crisis. Look like just a housing crisis for that matter. So that's probably what his response would be in that situation. With lower taxes is going to help the working class, and it's going to help fight against this housing crisis. Apparently, healthcare. Yeah, Donald Trump. Like, the last time we asked about Donald Trump as far as what he wants to do with Obamacare or Medicaid, he said he has a concept of a plan. And kind of concept of a plan means he has no plan. And for everybody that voted for him to like, especially those that benefited from Obamacare, to just simply just like act all confused about why they can't afford insurance and stuff like that. Like, nigga, you voted for this. You know what I mean? And a lot of them didn't even understand that Obamacare was the American health. I think it was called the American Care Act or something like that. Forgot. I think that's what the name of it was. But they didn't know they were under Obamacare. You know what I mean? Because it went by different names. So they lost that, and then because they were just simply ignorant about the severity of the situation, essentially. The climate, yeah. Look, I mean, he mentioned the climate. He did mention the climate. He just said it was fake. It was a hoax, which is completely ridiculous. Yeah. My job, I'm outside all the time. My 9 to 5, I'm outside all the time. And yeah, these past few summers went jack compared to when I first started. And I think one of the biggest points Bernie Sanders just made was like this elections thing. Huge point that he made there, and this is something that I talk to about with a lot of my constituents. Is the situation that the top five, like the company, the business owners, the corporate interest groups and stuff like that. They have bought their way into politics, and that is very, 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 very unfortunate. But it can be reversed. It's like the simple process of buying your way is like, you have like he pretty much explained it way much better than I could. They have like essentially endless money, endless income, endless money to endless wealth to dump into politics and to earn like force their influence on the current standard of politics. But again, it can't. The only way it can be reversed is essentially, I mean, we have to make it so that money is no longer, or not necessarily money, but like the influence that comes from money, like the advertisings and all this other stuff. We have to not make that be like the deciding factor. We have to like not make like somebody's visibility like the deciding factor on if we're gonna vote for them or not. You know what I mean? So like what that essentially means is we're gonna have to be more grassroots focused in terms of politics. We have to like be more. We have to. I mean, needless to say, we have to just start essentially ignoring like the big ticket runners when it comes to politics, because like if you know their names, I mean, if you see their face everywhere, if they have commercials, that means they have a lot of money to invest in the politics. Not to say they're a bad person or a bad politician, but you have to take what they're saying, digest it and like, okay, see if it works for you. But if it doesn't work for you, then like there's some other people that may not have enough money, may not have enough outreach, they may be able to speak to your interests. Like as an example, I forgot the guy's name. I wish I remember his name, but he was running against. He was also trying to run as a Democrat, and he actually had I mean, one of my sisters here, was talking about cutting the check. You know what I mean? This dude had reparations a part of his plan. You know what I'm saying? And like it's up to us as a community to like trying to uplift those individuals that we believe is going to be best for our collective interest. You know what I'm saying? Some people like to say, "Oh, let's put together a list. Let's get 10 items. Let's make a list. And these are a list of demands." You know what I'm saying? And that's an okay idea, but like this, it's just not really gonna get anywhere if you're not approaching people right with this list of demands. And it's like I mean, because like unless we get to the point where we're organized to the point where we all collectively are not pushing it, but making sure that those listed demands are met before we vote, then that's a thing. But like as far as the right now is concerned, this list has to be presented into like these politicians, and it has to be enforced. It has to be heavily enforced. But all that's neither here nor there. Bernie Sanders is absolutely right about this money being a significant contributor towards the overall success of these politicians that overall don't have our best interests in mind. So that's an unfortunate reality, and I'm glad he had mentioned that because I probably would have forgotten to mention that today. But otherwise, yeah. Going back to what Donald Trump was talking about, I'm gonna try to kind of speed past this because again, this is definitely getting late. Again, one of the sisters, Cheryl, she actually said, reparations, cut the check, so on and so forth. And Donald Trump made no mentions of the Platinum Plan, didn't make no mentions of restorative justice for Black Americans, for systemic oppression. No reparations for slavery. You know what I'm saying? Nothing. You know what I mean? And like all these Tariq Nasheed people and the like and their ilk, they are championing Donald Trump. You know what I mean? And like there are some things that Donald Trump is putting into place that Black people can benefit from, sure. But like for the things that they've been holding to Democrats on, like specifically tangibles and reparations and specific legislation for Black Americans, Donald Trump has presented nothing of the like. You know what I'm saying? He's not even thinking about us as far as something that's gonna benefit solely us. And this is very, very, very strange for these brothers to essentially bypass that type of ideology just because Republican is now in office. You know, that doesn't make sense to me. Otherwise, I will give him some credit on the criticism of the sanctuary cities. Like, quite frankly, I'm really trying to give like people like Brandon Johnson a chance regarding like this whole situation regarding immigrants and stuff like that. Like we had made a video of Brandon Johnson in a interview with, I believe it was NBC, and there he let us know that there was he was essentially calling into question Joe Biden's willingness to provide some sort of assistance, financial or federal assistance to Chicago and other sanctuary cities in assisting with the immigrant situation. You know what I'm saying? And he took on these people, I believe, expecting federal funding. You know what I mean? But the problem is that federal funding did not come. And it got to the point where Brandon Johnson was using taxpayers' money. He was using the COVID relief money, all this extra stuff that had nothing to do with the immigrants to help, keep those immigrants safe. You know what I'm saying? So, and that's very unfortunate because, I mean, he's receiving a whole lot of flack. He's gotten a severe, like a very, very bad, what's that thing called? Approval rating because over his handling of the immigrants and stuff like that. Whereas he made a lot of lofty goals, a lot of lofty promises upon his his electoral campaign, and a lot of stuff that sounded really good, you know. And he says that he made a promise, or he met the promise of some of those things that he aspired to achieve, and that's good. You know, that's a good first start. I mean, one thing was implementing our Chicago's homeless population in with benefits that the illegal immigrants have been receiving. So I need to go into detail about that, especially since the immigrants have been, you know, we're in a sanctuary city, so they got to figure that out first. They got to figure the sanctuary city state thing out first before they can start extracting the immigrants. Even though a lot of illegal immigrants have been extracted, have heard about that. So it's starting to get kind of confusing. But regardless. Like I said, his mishandling of the immigrant situation has earned him a lot of flack amongst not just like Black Americans, stuff like that, but also some aldermen had some problems with how he was handling things. So it just kind of is what it is. But so yeah, I'll have to give him credit, Donald Trump credit, for calling out the crime that's befilled these sanctuary cities. I know some brothers of mine, some people that even attend the show have mentioned that there's like actual wars that's going on, like with gunfire and people getting attacked and stuff like that, because of the presence of these gangs and stuff like these Venezuelan gangs and stuff like that. So it's just something that needed to be addressed. I'll give Donald Trump some credit for this auditing process that he set in place, thanks to courtesy of Elon Musk and the Doge organization, or branch of the government. Auditing needs to happen. I believe it's a bipartisan thing, period. Like, we need to know where this money is going. We need to know why the money is being put in the place that it's being placed, so on and so forth. The long list of items that he mentioned that didn't make sense, why money was going in these, like, I got, you know, a lot of stuff was like super duper weird, and there was like a really, really hefty price tag attributed to these really, really weird endeavors, right? But the one he did mention that Bernie Sanders mentioned was that $800 billion. Yeah, in her $800 billion cut, a Medicaid cut. So okay, it's a lot of it's like a lot, again, a lot of stuff that he mentioned. Sure, it makes we can argue that it made sense that he cut funding from those things, but cutting like Medicaid is that's abhorrent. And for him not to mention that is pretty typical of Donald Trump, obviously, but it's good that we have somebody like Bernie Sanders to come in and like kind of clean that up. You feel me? Or just make note make people aware of that as well. I don't know. He mentioned the price of eggs. Like, that's clearly a damn joke. It's not Joe Biden's fault that the price of eggs is up. There was like a chicken, what is it called, bird flu that happened, and that like severely crippled like the production of eggs. Come on now, like we can't throw that on. That's not like, what's that nigga name? Joe Biden did not create bird flu. He didn't spread bird flu across all these chickens and stuff like that. Let's get it together. Oh boy. Let me see here. What else did he say here before I get into my criticisms? Europe not spending any. We heard this before, but about Europe not contributing as much money as like America is into the defense of Ukraine, and calling them out for actually purchasing oil from Russia, I believe they said. That was one hell of a call out, and that's definitely worth researching right there, for sure. But anyway, other than that, man, besides like the him not trying to offer anything reparations wise, not the things that Bernie mentioned. This woke thing gotta go, man. This woke and this attack on DEI, which is low key, which is like coded language for black at this point. This stuff gotta go. It has to just fucking stop. Look, woke. I remember when woke meant you were impervious to propaganda. You know what I mean? Like you were educated, you were enlightened, you weren't going for the bullshit. That's what woke actually means. But these right wingers, they took that word and they just molded it into something disgusting. You know what I'm saying? Some people say the same thing happened to word negus, I think, where it meant something. It meant royalty or kingship, and then they turned it into like the hard R. You know what I mean? But like these people have a history of just taking something as pure and progressive as woke and turn it into some sort of a malicious attack on anybody that follows the ideology, these ideologies that may not even pertain to what woke actually meant during the time period. You know what I mean? Yeah, calling out. Saying the CRT thing is just a very, very blatant lie. Like the critical race theory is only taught in colleges to it's my knowledge law school students. You know what I mean? And which is necessary for those students, but like for those children's in grades K through 12, no, that's not a thing. You know what I mean? They are not being taught CRT. They are being taught Black history. You know what I mean? They are being taught. They are being new ideas of like showing how systemic oppression has befell Black Americans are being introduced to these grade levels. Sure, but it's not CRT. You know what I mean? These are, again, it's just literal Black history, and for him to try to turn it to something or to try to perverse it in any way, it's just outright disgusting. You feel me? But otherwise, what else did he say here? The doggy stuff, lofty dreams, like the tariffs thing. Like I get what he's trying to do as far as addressing the economy. I get it. This is just nationalism, implementing the tariffs essentially, which is essentially inspiring those within the country to primarily do business with those within the country. And it seems great, it seems nice. The only problem is the tariff. The foreign affairs, the foreign affairs that kind of come along that gets attributed with it. Like, without the tariffs, like people would generally we had like a good relationship with other countries. You know what I mean? Whereas they were, if they're happy, we're happy. You know what I mean? If America takes in just enough GDP to self, how do I put this? To self-regulate, you know what I mean? Because that, like, to be self-sustainable, that is like the goal that we all should be aspiring for. When America decided, let's say the Democrats or those that aren't Donald Trump, when they decided that we have met our goal and we have a lot to carry over, we have a lot extra, then we can use this to essentially influence other countries to play ball with us. You know what I mean? To just inspire them to like, hey, I think you kind of get what the point I'm trying to get at, right? If we're good, we have more left over, so we can help others feel good to develop a happy relationship between us and those countries. And I feel like as long as our country was as long as the checks and balance, if the math was mathing, in other words, then yeah, like it's okay that place like China and other countries may place a higher tariff on us than we do on them, as long as there's our checks and balances is doing fine. which Donald Trump will argue that they aren't because due to inflation, due to the migrant situation, and so on and so forth. So, I believe that's probably what the idea was behind those higher tariffs. And if the checks and balances weren't balanced, and then all that stuff, because we are at a multi-trillion-dollar deficit. Don't get me wrong, but like and I don't want to go too far into the economic side of things. I'm gonna be doing a whole lot of theorizing and kind of assuming and stuff like that. But just the overall theory of it, right? Is to, at least to my understanding, is if what they were doing, if the Democrats or those that didn't think to put these higher tariffs on other countries, if they felt like what we had worked, that would also mean that our current GDP value, our gross domestic product for the entire country, meant that we were going to be generating more money to, as I would say, that I would say move inch towards self-sustainability. Otherwise, there could have been some other type of like globalist agenda that would have benefited America to the point where we would have still been straight, despite having this financial deficit, despite having all these tariffs placed upon us, despite all of this shit. So it's just like it is kind of how you kind of look at it. But I know Republicans and right wingers in general look at everything from a very specific, very tight end, like checks and balances sort of situation where our money, where we have to leverage in order to make things happen in America. Whereas a more progressive, left-leaning ideology is, hey, look, let's play ball with the world. And even though we're not in the best financial position, if everybody is happy, then that can earn us favors in more ways than one. Like that's just about the how do I explain this? That's just like the rough draft, not the rough draft. I can't think of a good word to describe this, but that's just kind of like the general idea of what I've been kind of noticing from my study of politics up to this point. So the big overarching, not overarching, the big, how do I put this? I think the big thing to take in, or just in a nutshell, how about I use that? In a nutshell, we're transitioning from whatever the Democratic Party had established, had understood, into this new American nationalist type of agenda. You know what I mean? And very much so, a lot of other Americans are very curious as to what this transition period is going to look like. And the transition period is usually the thing that hurts the most, especially us as Americans. And Donald Trump himself said that I think that was pertaining to the farmers, but he did say that a part of this idea is going to require some patience from the American people. You know what I mean? And I think that meant because he doesn't want to go in. The devil's always in the detail, and he didn't want to go into details about it, but that did mean with the lower. I'll just give an example with the lower workforce, and especially in farms, due to the ICE taking away all of deporting all the illegal immigrants and stuff like that. That's going to cause for quite one hell of a financial strain on American farmers. You know what I'm saying? I don't know what percentage of farm hands were illegal immigrants and have been deported, but even J.D. Vance himself said there's going to be an increase in grocery prices because of this. You know what I mean? And when we go back to what Bernie Sanders said, as far as a financial burden a financial burden so severe that we are living paycheck to paycheck, meaning that if anything were to go wrong, we we won't be able to make it anymore. You know what I mean? We would kind of collapse as individuals. So so with something like that being set in place and grocery prices going up, like how are people going to be able to be self-sustainable? Like how are they going to be able to make it? Especially with so many people losing their jobs due to like these different things that's happening. Now, hopefully, the jobs that he's created will be able to offset some of those damages. I don't know. Time will tell, you know. But one thing I will say is if a lot of stuff is gonna be automated and thanks to AI, then that's gonna create an additional issues, you know. But that, for the most part, is the entirety of my review of Donald Trump's. I guess it's some sort of state of address. I didn't know it was a state of address. I thought it was something else, but whatever. I thought he was going to pop his talking shit a little bit. But yeah, that's my full review of like everything in totality of like this the whole situation. It's time to tell what's actually going to happen. I'm praying for the best. I'm praying for the best of our people, but it's now more than ever. It's in our best interest to talk to each other, get each other more involved, get each other more engaged with politics, so that we can at the very least prepare for what's ahead. And what also is going to come from that is let us all know just how severe all this is actually is turned out to be. You know what I'm saying? So anyway, hey, if you rocked it out with me this entire time, that's great. I appreciate it, liking and all that nice stuff like that. But more than anything, just hey, take what we learned here and then have conversation with your loved ones, have conversation with your friends, neighbors, so on and so forth, so that we can start implementing this politics stuff into our cultures, into our think tank spaces, like you name it, so that we can start moving towards solutions, start moving towards organizations, start moving towards solution crafting. You feel me? So otherwise, I'm done, man. It's been hard thinking, and I'll catch you on the flip side.